Hi, this is Andrea Gin, and I'm the producer and one of the hosts of Pop This. I'm just here to let you know that we're taking a break this week, and instead of a new episode, have gone into the archives and pulled up an old favorite for you to hear. If you listened to our recommendations over the past little while, you may have noticed that both Andrea Warner and I talked about how much we love the new Softies album called The Bed I Made. The Softies are, of course, the legendary indie pop duo consisting of Rose Melberg and Jen Sbreggia, who are both known for, as Rolling Stone recently put it, inventing sad girl. The return of the Softies after 24 years has inspired us not only to listen to our favorite old Softies LPs, but to also dig up this episode we did with Rose Melberg in 2018, when she came on the podcast to talk about one of her favorite movies of all time, Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. If you haven't seen it, it's a cult classic starring Diane Lane, Laura Dern, and Maren Cantor as three teenage girls who start a punk band. It was shot in Vancouver and pretty much inspired a generation of women to start their own bands. It has become a Pop This classic film, and you need to watch it now if you haven't. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I'm in this dilemma, and I think I need to propose a new social media site.
Well, it's about time because your relationship with Twitter is toxic.
It is very toxic. So I, as you know, watching Jane the Virgin.
Yes.
And very much enjoying it. Mm-hmm. It's odd because I don't usually watch a lot of TV series from networks. So 22 episodes. What is going on? I'm used to these 8-episode journeys on Netflix and stuff.
Look at how deeply invested you are in these people's lives.
I know. 22, 45-minute episodes I have given to Jane and all her family.
I hear she's great to hang out with, though.
Oh, she is. I do love her. But anyway, you get to the end of season 1. Mm-hmm. Quite a cliffhanger.
Oh, don't spoil it.
No, I was just this is the thing. Yeah, 5 years late.
I know, but I saved it.
This is the thing. I have nowhere to go. I can't go anywhere. I want discussion groups for people who are watching or binging on series that have already been on. Now, see, the other day, I was watching Jeopardy. You'll wonder where this is going.
Nope.
And I was very excited because there was a category that was Big Mouth. I'm a big Smiths fan. I was hoping, could Alex Trebek read a Smiths lyric? Mm-hmm. He did.
Wow.
Oh, he did. And of course, what is Big Mouth Strikes Again?
Ah.
And I knew that. Of course, our contestants, beep, 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 did not know. Mm-hmm. I mean,
they're not always the most into music.
It was just, my heart leapt. So then I just went to Twitter to see if anyone else saw it like I did. Like, were we all together? And there we were.
Yeah.
There were
that's
the other
thing.
souls.
You can find a community.
You can find a community. But can I find that community of people who are binging on 5-year-old? When I watched The Good Wife, I think I would have to phone you occasionally.
That's true.
Because you watched it in real time, didn't you?
No, I watched it after the fact, but I caught up to the major season.
Yes.
That was the thing. So I had binged 4 seasons. Yeah. And thankfully was caught up for season 5 when stuff goes crazy.
Right. I had nowhere to go.
So Jane the Virgin is on my list of things I want to watch. Yeah. And I don't know how much time I'm going to have in the near future. But
are you dying,
yes, this is actually my announcement.
Wow.
I know it's crazy. But I want to watch it. So I will do my best to make that my next show that I...
Okay, 22 episodes, and I'm already 3 into season 2 now. So
I'm going to do my best.
We're going to catch up together.
I'm going to do my best.
But then I would be very happy to be able to converse with you about it.
Well, you know what I used to do when I would watch old shows that I had delayed watching? I was always so excited to go to Television Without Pity and read the recaps, and then you could find people to talk about these things with. I think you can.
Real time,
No, I know the real time.
I can go to Brian Moylan at Vulture to recap my Housewives.
Yeah.
Every week and read down the discussion. Yeah. And I suppose I could go to an old episode.
You know what you need? You belong to book clubs. Yeah, that's where actually this is going. It's the meanest thing I've ever said to you. Lisa, I don't know if you've heard of these people, but they're called Friends. What if you started a TV club instead of a book club? And then
I've never heard of that. Is that an actual... Have you ever heard of people doing this?
I don't know, but you could. Why not?
Yeah, and then we all watch the same series?
You always have to watch the same series, and you meet every week to discuss that week's episode.
Weekly. I think a monthly.
Okay, fine. Monthly. But then you're going to have to talk about more than one episode.
Yeah, that's okay. We could do I'm very much liking your idea here a lot.
Yeah, make a TV club.
You could do 5 episodes. If it was because... That's fair. That's
you just all have to agree on whatever, and you need to find people that you would want to talk about television with.
But is that sad? Because the whole idea of a book club is it's very elevated conversation. You're in a book club.
I am in a book club.
I was in a book club. We disbanded, and I miss my book club.
Oh, interesting. I mean, this is my first...
Do you think there was some gossip?
No.
Because there was at one time, but that's...
No. I just... This is my first book club that I've ever managed to stick with.
How long have you been in it?
Well, it's 3 books, and we're going on to our 4th, so I feel pretty good about it.
I was in a book club for 10 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a really long time.
Yeah.
I think you can easily create a TV club, and I don't think there's ever anything sad about belonging to a club unless it's a club of racism.
Oh, that was my second club. Because also, as we've discussed, my relationship to Twitter, it's easy to find members.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I will not have trouble.
No, you will not. No, form a TV club.
That is a very interesting idea.
Go for it.
I think I like this idea. So,
yeah, and you can have lots of elevated conversation about TV. I mean, TV is pretty great right now.
It is. I mean, I don't have to always pick the most elevated of shows, though, do I?
No, there's so many great discussions about so many different things.
Yeah, okay, I'm on it now.
Do it.
That's a good idea because that would help me because I had no one. I
really love solution-based conversations. Isn't that nice?
I feel like just leaving.
You're done.
Conversation.
No, we have a whole other episode, and it's going to be the rest of the episode. And it's also think of what could have happened in Corinne's life if she'd had a young punk club. You're listening to Pop This. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
And we have a very special guest today.
We sure do.
We're so excited. I'm going to just have the pleasure of reading your bio before we even get into the episode, Rose. Is that okay?
Yes.
Our very special guest today is Rose Melberg. Rose Melberg has released 16 albums since 1993, and she's been the primary songwriter in Tiger Trap, Go Sailor, The Softies, Brave Irene, and Knife Pleats. She's the drummer in... Now, there might be a... Was the drummer. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I used the wrong verb there. Was the drummer in Gaze, Jay Arner, Sean Mrazek?
Yeah.
Mrazek Lives, KMVP, Olivia's World, and Kites at Night. She is from Sacramento, California, and has lived in Canada since 1995. Welcome, Rose Melberg.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm such a fan of the show.
Oh, wow. We pay her to say that.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to listen to when I'm doing long drives by myself.
Oh, that's nice. It's like you're not alone.
Friends.
Yeah, it does just feel like I'm hanging out with y'all.
Oh,
well,
so
we all
nice.
kind of live in the same neighborhood, too.
It's really true.
We do, actually, and never hang out.
Nope.
Yeah,
No,
it's really sad.
Yeah.
Busy people.
We could do better.
We can.
And we will.
We will.
I wanted to tell Lisa that I also am about 3 episodes into season 2 of Jane the Virgin.
Oh my God, look, you
No
found your
joke.
TV club. We just formed your TV club right here.
I watched the whole first season all at once, 6 months ago, and then
But you guys could still talk about
just
it.
started
Plug your
season
ears for
2.
a minute, because I was a little worried about little baby Mateo. Were you not?
I thought it would go on for longer.
I did, too.
I'm going to kill you all. No. I'm excited that TV Club has formed right here.
I think we just started it.
And this is great.
Magic.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for both of you.
Yeah.
If anybody else is listening to or watching Jane the Virgin right now,
And
you
the
want to
3
tag
episodes
in,
into season 2.
and you're in Vancouver,
Yeah.
let us know. But I'm also really grateful because It is through you and through Andrea Gin that I even learned about the movie that we're going to talk about today, which is, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains.
And so fabulous.
So fabulous.
They really
It's
are.
a long, not the greatest title.
Right. Well, it wasn't the original title.
No, it wasn't, but it's a long... It makes me... I mean, I know what it's supposed to sound like, but it always makes me think of watching Saturday Night Live, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The Beastie Boys. Or
I was going to say David Byrne.
Yeah. Or Hoobastank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm excited for a future of a non-binary title to most of these things. I'm very excited. I feel this movie could easily be just called The Fabulous Stains.
Yeah.
Which is what I shortened it to. I love this movie, and I am so grateful to you, Rose, and you, Andrea Gin, for us coming together and watching it.
Neither of us had seen this.
Neither of us.
Oh, and so you saw it for the first time together.
We
did.
did.
That's really special.
And it was quite fun because I had a vague idea that it was filmed in Vancouver. Wasn't entirely sure. And then many things made it very apparent.
Yeah.
So Vancouver.
Although Vancouver is often called a beautiful city. Not so much. 1981.
It looked great.
It was very, very great.
They really amped up the sort of industrial town aspect of where it's supposed to be set.
It looked like a steel mill or something.
Which is exactly...
But then the roller coaster.
Yeah, the roller coaster kind of gives that away.
Yeah, it gives it away.
But it's exactly sort of what it's supposed to be, which is... and that's perfect. Yeah. So just... the premise a little bit. Would you like to share the premise with us, Lisa?
Yeah, like most teen movies and Disney films, a mother has died. So
look, our favorite thing is dead parents. You know that.
We do not discuss any movie that does not have a dead parent.
We love a dead parent. We're both always working through our stuff.
Yes.
I did not swear.
You did not.
Look at that. I tucked it back in.
All right. After her mother's death, teenager Corinne Burns forms a punk band with her sister and cousin, despite their lack of musical experience and talent. Which, having watched a lot of punk bands in the early days, I don't know if that was actually a prerequisite for many of the acts.
I think they're pretty on par with a lot of what was happening at the time.
That seems judgy compared to some of the bands
honestly,
I saw.
a lot of the descriptions are kind of judgy for this film. So this is why I like the one from like the AV Club. So this is from the AV Club. Diane Lane stars as Corinne, an orphan Pennsylvania teen who, as the movie opens, has already earned some notoriety as the subject of a TV profile about small town life, wherein she mentions her largely theatrical band, The Stains, her sister, played by Maren Cantor, her cousin, played by Laura Dern. Their course is set after they watch the British punk band The Looters, led by a young Ray Winstone, fronting Paul Cook and Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols, and Paul Simon of The Clash, right? Simonon? Okay, thanks. Open for Alice Cooper-inspired washout on a tour of Pennsylvania bars.
That band is called the Metal Corpses.
The Metal Corpses.
Exactly.
The Stains joined the bill, becoming a runaway hit after some unusually intense coverage on the local news.
Yeah.
It's that and so much more.
Yeah,
it is.
Oh my God, this movie, guys, this movie really...
It's a life changer, and it has been a life changer to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so now do you recall seeing it? What happened?
Well, my connection to Fabulous Stains is kind of sweet and sentimental because it was the favorite movie of my best friend, and she turned me on to it. Jen Spraja, my partner in the Softies. And when I met her around 1993, and so we started playing together in 1994, and that's when she was talking about this movie, and I had never heard of it. And her experience with it was seeing it when she was 14 in 1985 or whatever, on Night Flight on cable TV late at night. And,
I can't even imagine being 14 and seeing this movie.
And she was really into metal at the time, and she was already like playing guitar and wanting to be like Lita Ford, and she was super into metal, and this movie just blew her mind. But you know, it's the luck of the draw, you know, 80s TV. Like you see it once, maybe you see it a second time if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then once she saw it like at a party, and then so eventually she put an ad in the back of Maximum Rock and Roll, the punk magazine, and said, does anyone have a copy of this movie? And eventually some guy sent her a pretty terrible VHS copy taped from TV.
Because the film itself is not really high quality, so that's hard, yeah.
And so it was like her prized possession, and so she played it for me for the first time, and so it was a real bonding thing for me and Jen. And this was in 1994, so, you know, Riot Girl had already happened for me, and seeing the parallels was just like, oh, okay.
No, are they true parallels? Like, can you link that? Like, I mean, for yourself, but is there like, we read
really
Carrie
hard to say.
Brownstein's book. Was she like, oh, this day? But
I mean, I know a lot of those girls were into that movie, and after the fact, a lot of them all had the story of, the first time they saw it and when they first heard of it, and whether it was intended or not, boy, oh boy.
Oh, I feel like I just, even looking at when Corinne takes off her coat for the first time and is in that incredible outfit, and I mean, she does very much look like she's going to inform Flashdance, Cyndi Lauper. Oh yeah. And I mean it
very much looked like a Debbie Harry outfit from Blondie.
It's really true, and it's important to remember, even though the film was never properly released, but nobody saw it until like 84. But this was filmed in 1980.
Yeah.
And so the filming began. So it's pretty mind blowing to think that this discussion was happening and these ideas were happening at that time.
That really
and
does
how ahead of its time it felt.
So ahead of its time. And I was so curious about for Nancy Dowd to take her name off of it and use this male pseudonym after the fact. I didn't find anything or do any. I guess I didn't properly research, but find anything about why she was so disappointed in the outcome.
I know one thing that she's talked about is the sexual harassment that she dealt with on set. And that was part of it.
That's awful.
Yeah, that she didn't want to be a part of the production.
What sort of things did Laura Dern?
My God.
I mean, we know that there was a lot of partying and drugs going on at the time, and there, no horror stories that I've heard. I've only, I've seen interviews with Nancy Dowd talking about a cameraman twisting her breast as a joke, he was turning a knob, and that she was horrified and it was just I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't necessarily the actual
And I think the movie wasn't quite turning out the way. I think a lot of people going into this film thought this was going to be a serious film.
Yeah.
And it became a little cheesier, and some of the humor is lost, but then some of the importance of the messages were also lost. Somewhere it kind of compromised in the middle in the worst way.
And yet at the same time, it feels so radical and empowering.
Oh, I know. Now it does.
Oh my God.
To me. Oh my God, I know.
Watching this film for the first time in 2018.
Yeah.
And thinking about how it was filmed the year after I was born and came out when I was a year old. Oh my God.
It's so funny to think too, because one of the characters that we really were just crazy about was that TV reporter.
Oh, Alicia Meeker.
Yeah, yes. She was. I mean, and to think that Alicia was kind of all of a sudden I'm a woman and I've been wrecking my life for years. Well, this girl's inspiring me.
Know.
I'm going to the top.
And she does.
And she does, which I thought was super interesting, because we always discuss role models.
Yes.
And there's always an assumption that our role models need to be older than us and have done more.
It's
but
really
all
beautiful.
you need is to see one person go F you, which is what she saw.
Yeah.
And suddenly...
And clearly she had never seen anything like that. It was a generational thing where she was like,
Absolutely.
I think this is amazing.
Yeah, and this is a young girl speaking up for herself, and that guy was all...
And she continues to get less and less patient for this old
Harley
white
Dennis.
man's patriarchal crap.
Yeah.
What a delight.
Well, I mean, for the last 20 some odd years, my life is just a series of Fabulous Dane's quotes. And one of the quotes I use a lot is, well, it takes all kinds.
Yes! That was good. Yeah.
So
how about the better one? And what did you say her Nancy? Was her name? What did you say her name was?
Alicia Meeker.
Alicia's now gone to the national news. Is that one of your favorite quotes? Because that's one I enjoyed.
Oh my God, I loved it when Corinne was like, "He was just an old man in a young girl's world."
Yeah.
Oh my God, when she said that, and that came out of her mouth, I just thought, where has this movie been? It's been in my soul. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know, and that's nice. It
is
to see something
how I
that
felt when I first saw it. I was like, "Wow, this completes the puzzle." I got into punk in 1985, and there certainly were women visible in the punk scene.
Sure.
And at that point, it was just like, "Oh, cool, there's other women. This is awesome. I can be a part of this." But no one was talking about feminism, and no one was talking about the patriarchy at that point. And then Riot Girl happened, and I was like, oh my God, now finally punk women are talking about, not just screw everything, but screw the patriarchy. And it was, I've been waiting to hear this. And, it was just at the right time in my life, in my late teens and early 20s. And And then seeing this movie and kind of bringing it all the way around and realizing, whoa, feminism and punk has been happening all this time, but it took this long for it to actually, that it had to bubble up to the top, that it took.
Well, it does make you wonder, because I don't want to be the person that's always cynical about the internet has ruined everything. Because I remember interviewing a guy who made a documentary called Hardcore Punk, and he talked about having to, get these zines out and poster, and I was like, imagine how many more people you could have got if you had the internet. And he went, wow, that's a really gross way to think of it. And I was like, no, it is not a gross way to think about it. It's called having a bigger audience.
Yeah, that's what we all wanted.
That's what we all wanted. And if we had this chance to connect, like you said, to know that, what if this, these girls having to find this, in front of them, and then go to these shows, how did they stay in touch when they went home?
Yeah. I think about that all the time. I thought about my early friendship with Jen, and I was like, gosh, I can't even remember, how did we just call each other on the phone all the time? I don't remember that part of it. Jen,
coming home and going to your mom, did so-and-so phone?
I know.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't answer the phone. What am I, your secretary? That was my
That's
mom's
a good line. That's
Yeah.
a good line. Actually, Jen, my best friend, has a giant tattoo on the front of her thigh of Corinne Burns, and it says, just rock and roll in the truth.
Oh, my God.
From the part of the movie when she's walking, talking to herself,
Yeah.
and she's like, we're going to build a radio station tomorrow. No commercials. Just rock and roll in the truth.
Yeah.
And so that, it meant everything to Jen as a young woman growing up in Santa Rosa, California, around a bunch of super misogynist metal dudes.
Yeah.
And there was this glimmer of hope for her in
Oh,
Corinne
totally.
Burns. She'd never seen anything like
Yeah.
that. And I just think it's amazing that she's, 48-year-old woman now and she just got this tattoo.
Oh!
Yay, Jen!
I know.
Oh, my God.
She needs to get in touch with Diane Ladd.
Diane
Lane.
Lane.
Yeah.
Laura Dern's mom is. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, she often says it's so funny. She's like, it's so funny that I have a tattoo of Diane Lane on my thigh. If you think about it that way.
Yeah. No. Let's just think of it as Corinne.
Yeah, it's just Corinne.
I support either way. Diane Lane
it's
seems pretty cool.
I always like seeing her. She seems
yeah.
a breath of fresh whenever she's on an interview, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There are interviews of her talking about Fabulous Stains.
Oh.
And she's pretty, a lot of them have never even seen the movie.
Well, they did. I found a write-up from, I can't remember. It was maybe Pop Matters. They did a DVD release in 2008, and they do commentary. Diane and Laura Dern do commentary, and there's this big, great write-up of that sort of extended commentary. And they said the director's commentary is really disappointing, but Diane and Laura apparently just listen and are watching it for the first time in forever, laughing, having a great time, reminiscing. And apparently, I had always thought that they were 17 and 15 and when they were making it. No, Diane Lane was 15 and Laura Dern was 13.
Yeah, Diane Lane talked about how horrified she was to be in the see-through top.
Oh my God. Yeah. And also just to have to do that shower scene.
I know.
With Ray Winstone. It was deeply uncomfortable just even watching.
Well, what's interesting is Jen's copy that she had for years and years that was sent to her by the guy from wherever was edited for TV.
Oh, so she didn't even know that there were swear words?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and the way she got the second VHS copy she ever had of it actually came from Nardwuar.
Oh,
because
wow.
after I moved to Vancouver and became friends with Nardwuar, and he found out that Jen loved this movie, he tracked down a copy from a friend to give to Jen. Of course he did.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, Nardwuar, for showing Jen that there were actual swear words in it and nudity.
But that also was, the swear words were kind of uncomfortable in a weird way because they're
there's a little bit of racism too, and there's talking
about the bus driver. That was
oh my God, that was a lot of racism.
Yeah, it was a
weird choice I found for 1980.
Yeah.
A weird choice in general.
The other thing we found really fun was how the metal corpses, how nothing has changed there. He's given that interview.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I was kind of warmed by that these sad old men are always going to become sad old men.
I know, rock and roll in my day.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And they're still talking that way. And when you say anything, Eminem, to them about how you sound like a sad old man, they're like, no, you just don't get it.
Don't understand.
You don't understand what it was like back in the day when people knew how to...
Yeah, well, pretty easy to shut down a lot of conversations with, oh, you just don't understand.
Yeah, you weren't there when it mattered.
Oh, my God. And also just, like, in general, come on. Like, a lot
old
of...
man punks, that's just like,
a
they should
lot
all
of,
have
like,
T-shirts that
yes.
say, you just don't understand.
You don't even know what CBGB is. Why are you wearing that?
Yeah, and it's...
Sorry,
oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. Yeah, I know.
What's interesting about the character of Lawn Boy is that the actor who played him, Barry Ford, he was a reggae artist.
Yeah.
And he actually did most of the music for the film.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I liked his character. I wish that he had not been stuck with a racist name.
Yeah.
Or, on the receiving end of, like, horrific racism. I thought but I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a very lovable character.
Such a lovable character. Such a, like, lovely, just, I don't know. And I really feel like he's the one where he's got all of these, like, white kids thinking that they're so punk and they're subverting everything. And he's like, yeah, my friend's in jail, and he's like this, black man trying to tell them about what real, like, race problems exist in the world.
Was this before the Clash ripped off Jamaican music, or around the same time?
Around the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I understand sort of like from a really, sort of like good subversive level, like that characterization. And I mean, but it's hard to swallow the, like, racism.
I know, because he's, in the film, he's there to kind of illustrate what big babies, whiny babies they're all being.
Yeah.
That they're bickering and,
But I did enjoy knowing the authenticity of having Sex Pistols and the Clash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and
a big selling feature.
A soft spot for Ray Winstone because he was in Quadrophenia.
Yeah.
So, he's a bit of a punk heartthrob. Not going to lie.
He was rather cute. It didn't seem like the worst casting ever.
Oh, I've seen, like, fine casting.
Yeah. I thought his British accent seemed fake at some points.
It's real, though.
I know, but the words seemed...
It looked an extra...
I like your hair.
Yeah.
It looked extra meaty.
What are you being so proud for? I was like, I could do that.
Do I see a stage play coming on, you guys? A three-woman show?
Oh, my God.
Fabulous
We
Days?
literally said, let's do a staged reading of The Fabulous Stains.
When they were at the Penthouse.
And we could do it at the Penthouse in Vancouver. You would have to star.
Yeah.
Come on.
Nobody, because this is a podcast, you did not see Rose's face just now when you said that.
I saw
and your eyes closed and it washed over you, and I think you saw the whole thing, didn't you?
Absolutely.
That was something.
So good. Let's do this.
I actually do know most of the movie by heart. And last night when I was watching it in bed, I just kept cracking my husband up because I just kept saying every line right before it happened just to be annoying.
It's so good.
It really, really was. Have you, like, traveled the scenes? Have you gone to the Coquitlam Mall just to hang out
No, I haven't.
there?
I would like to do that when Jen comes to town sometime.
Because there's...
Oh, my God. Can she come to town for our staged reading?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
She might have to be Corinne Burns, I think.
Okay, fine. That's fair. She's got the tattoo.
She knows that the whole... I mean, everything, too. Like, when Christine Lottie is giving her her impassioned speech about her sister.
I love it.
And she says, she's like, I says to her, I says... And so we always, even that little thing that Jen and I quote that all the time.
That was actually a pretty touching, again, about a movie seeming very forward, about just this idea of realizing that you were not treating women. You were, perpetuating
the cycle of trauma.
Taking women down always a notch. Like
and
this,
her acknowledging that she had been holding her daughter back.
I cried. Yeah. I legitimately cried.
Yeah.
I love the TV interview smoking. I just...
Oh, yeah, that's so great. So great.
We'll have to, do our reading with, fake...
So much fake cigarettes.
Yeah.
Could we have, like, an all-women staging of this?
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll be Ray Winstone.
You could be Ray Winstone. That's like your dream. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is so good. I can't wait for this.
Because he has so many good lines.
He does.
When he's like, someday you might be something, but right now you're just two white stripes.
Is that where the band got their name? I always wondered.
I don't know.
This is now my theory that the band was because they also
all
adopted
red, white, and black
all the red, white, and black coloring as well.
Gosh, I don't know.
And it just feels like that makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I can see Jack White being of that sort of moved to want to adopt this.
Yeah, also, like, let me find the most obscure thing I can find so nobody knows where I stole it.
Exactly.
We're on to you, Mr. White.
We figured this one out. We cracked this wide open.
Yeah. And you didn't even get your own color scheme. That was all taken, too. But I look forward to, I really would like to do the whole hair thing and the red.
Yeah. Well,
you must have done it for Halloween.
No, I did it for the movie night, the Girls Rock Camp benefit where we played the movie. I did it as best as I could.
I bet you looked great.
I looked pretty good.
Yeah.
We were talking about how the movie wasn't very well received, even though it got barely any release. But I wanted to. I'm sort of skipping around in my notes here, but the 1985 New York Times write-up. So there had been in 1985 it got an art house release, and so a bunch of different theaters got it. So the New York Times wrote it up. Janet Maslin wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Danes promises to be of interest as a show business satire, but it's notable chiefly as a footnote to the career of Diane Lane. Miss Lane was 15 in 1981 when the film was made, and when Paramount decided against releasing it for the obvious reasons that it's neither funny nor incisive. The latter fact is surprising since the film was directed by Lou Adler, the A in A&M Records, and formerly the manager of Carole King. Mr. Adler surely knows his way around the music business, but the film reflects none of that expertise.
Yeah.
I thought that's a little bit of a harsh criticism.
Don't get it.
Yeah. You weren't there.
Like, it was just the dismissive sort of like that it's neither funny nor incisive.
But if you're not, the thing is, we're like-minded women watching this movie. It spoke to us.
Yeah. If you knew nothing about
punk, if you knew nothing about
punk
rock or
third wave
music,
feminism,
or ever felt a longing to do these things.
But if you're a writer for the New York Times in 1985. You've probably been through some stuff, especially as a woman. Like, you've come up through probably some not great ranks. So it could be that, yes, she looks at it and she doesn't see herself reflected there because she's already sort of so beaten down by what I'm assuming is, like, the internalized misogyny that so many of us live with. But, like, to not be able to look at how the news anchor is liberated by
so much of this movie has to do with the media's relationship with how women are portrayed.
Absolutely.
So you'd think that anyone at that time,
just a tiny bit of self-awareness.
That was also really refreshing too, because I get really frustrated having that conversation with people going, well, the news today is not any different than it was before. I finished your sentence for you. It is not this idea that viral is new. This was not. This is how this girl got famous. Also, I did other research. That was Spinner. Is it Spinner? Brent Spinner or Spiner? Spiner. That was Data in the very beginning of the. You knew that?
Yeah. Of course, she knows everything about this.
Sorry. Okay.
No.
I mean, that was so weird.
Yeah. Also, Black Randy and the Metro Squad was a real band.
Oh yeah,
from LA,
and that was awful, by the way. Sorry for
I know.
Yeah.
One thing that I think when people talk about the movie not being funny, I think the character of Lou Corpse, the singer in Metal Corpses, I think that character is hilarious. The subtlety of that character and how completely absurd and awful and totally not self-aware at all.
Yeah.
And how his acting, he wasn't an actor, he was just a musician. It was like his first acting gig.
Yeah.
And I think that character is so funny.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah.
And the way he was, that weird scene where he pulls up with that baby on his
lap.
I know.
Just hands it over.
Just screaming all night long.
But she was gold. Oh my.
Or when, when his friend dies and he's like, why'd you had so much talent, man, so much talent.
Oh my God.
And
you just said he was 35. He easily looked 100.
And when they pull the body out on the gurney and you see the boots. That's so funny.
We were laughing so
oh my God, we laughed so hard at that. That was
there is
amazing.
so much humor in the film. So people who miss the humor, I think, just don't understand.
No, we were laughing very hard. And the funny thing was he was playing him like that dinosaur that will always be.
Yeah.
They just rotate.
Yeah. There's a new cast of them.
Just give them a different genre.
Every 10 years,
So the movie's available on Amazon Prime as well. And this is the capsule description of the movie on Amazon Prime. The media and disaffected teens mistake the acerbic rants of an obnoxious teenage punk rocker as a rallying cry for the women of America, launching her and her talentless group to national stardom.
Wow.
Yeah, that is such an interesting take on this film.
Yeah, and we're always being subjected to the women without talent
my
trope.
God.
Always,
Yeah.
right? Even it doesn't matter. Britney Spears, right?
Yeah.
She has no talent. And you're, no, she's actually been famous for a very long time and has managed to have a Vegas residency for, I'm thinking 2 decades almost now.
Have you seen her dance and sing at the same time?
Exactly. It's odd and not really my thing.
But it's a talent.
But it's a talent, and she's working it, and she's enjoying herself, and she's still like this constant need to find some woman and rip her down for not having what you would consider to be the proper kind of talent, I think has been going on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
It's shocking to me that that's a modern take.
That is
on
a
the film.
modern description on Amazon Prime of this film.
Because by the end, they got it all together. That great little rock video
Well,
from MTV
that was
there.
actually added after.
I felt like it was added after.
That was in re-editing. They were decided to give it a happy ending. They made it big.
I'm happy
Lou
about
Adler
that.
did that after the fact. He brought them back in. That's why they all look so different.
Yeah, they do look very, like Diane Lane looks a year older.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, that to me made sense, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, well,
Well, what's
You're like, yeah, no. When you're 15 and become 16, your face changes.
well, no, I guess I meant like that it would take about a year or something to
for
get
that kind of fame?
Yeah.
to get that.
That's
Yeah.
The other funny thing about this description is the idea that they experience national fame because the whole film really takes place in what feels like a month-long tour of Pennsylvania.
Totally.
I don't think they ever leave Pennsylvania in this entire month.
It went really like
they never get to California the way the
the
looter
descent
guy
and
wants
ascent
to.
seemed within one evening.
Well, and then it's supposed to be kind of like a month, but somewhere halfway through the film, one of the band is like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "Pennsylvania." I'm like, "They started in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Where are they driving around?"
Apparently, all the clubs are in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's not even a big
And
state.
all of these girls watch the same news program
And that's it's
every
all
night.
local news. And
Yeah.
so that's what's so funny about this is it's this tiny little world that explodes and implodes all within a month, all in one local tiny market.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's honestly, it's amazing. Like,
And very of its time when local news was
had
very
power.
much
Yes.
all
Yeah.
there was.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. Like, I just, like, the idea that she's talentless, that these girls are talentless. I mean, she, admittedly plagiarizes a song from the Looters. And maybe that's not the most ethical, whatever. On purpose. As
prove a point.
As a screw you. And they make that song great.
They sure did.
I want to only. We were talking about how we just want to cover that song at karaoke now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great, great song.
Can you tell us some of the lyrics? You can't sing it.
You can't sing it, but can you tell us any of the lyrics of the song?
Well, the song is about the draft.
Yeah.
And professionals.
Professional.
Do you want to be a professional?
Yeah.
Up to, it's about like the government. Why do they get to decide?
Yeah.
What you do with your life?
Yeah. I love that she steals it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then their little Private Benjamin video and their little outfits.
I know, it's so funny.
Oh my God, that tagged on ending, it really is kind of a, because like you see that she has like, even though they've had this sort of like very quick rise and fall, where, danger, danger, you become the thing that you object to, blah, blah, blah. She sees it like it doesn't have to be that. You can have it turn into this other thing.
Right. Well, at the very end, when she sees all the young women still listening to the song and still dressing that way and realizes
still coming
like,
there to see her.
I created something and this lives on.
But what was best about that ending was that he was inviting her to be a groupie and she said thanks, but no. And that's what was good.
Yeah.
And then she was, which is why I really enjoyed the tacked on ending. I know that she saw the girls there.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
But to know that she made the right call not getting on that bus with that guy.
Yeah.
Because that was not, she was just going to be like that weird girl sitting in the back room, right?
Well, that's another one of my oft quoted lines is when she's like, "What am I supposed to just tune your guitar?" And he says, "I don't play guitar." So I use that all the time too.
Which is, again, another great testament to the fact that like, these guys don't necessarily have more talent than her band.
No, not
but
at all.
they get to just be seen as having the right to call themselves musicians.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And in 1980, women just like claiming ownership of space in that type of environment in these rock clubs, because these aren't little punk clubs. These are like what look like cowboy bars and rock clubs,
But isn't that the famous story of the Sex Pistols and that weird, ill-fated tour?
But that was in the 70s, and this was 1980. So
yeah,
by
but it's
this
not
point,
that long. But that was the weird story, right? They went to the wrong bar.
I mean,
Their tour was
there weren't a
booked.
lot of venues for punk shows to happen, so
Yeah.
quite often in smaller towns, shows would happen in the weirdest places.
Yeah.
To the wrong people.
Yeah.
You've been 16 records, so you've been around
The biz.
as it were. Did you feel that this movie was like a complete and utter like failure at sort of capturing an element of the music business?
I mean, the timeline was a little off.
Sure. Yeah. Let's
You
allow
would have
for
liked a
like
month-long success, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything was a bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
But I get what the story they were telling
Yeah.
of the type of attention you get when someone thinks that you have something they can sell, and then immediately when you're not a commodity anymore, then you're out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty common and pretty normal, and especially at that time, and especially with women.
Yeah.
Like, you're completely at the mercy of men in charge.
Yes.
And so that was pretty realistic, but of course the way it was portrayed was kind of ridiculous. But,
Sure.
you know, the music business is a terrible, terrible, evil, disgusting entity. And, you know, it captured that spirit for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever held a wine opener to a man's throat?
Oh, God, I wish.
Can you imagine? Oh, I loved it. I
know.
Like he's like a half foot taller than her, but he just knows that she is absolutely going to gut him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's got to pony up.
Yeah.
He's such a slime ball.
I know.
I think he goes on in a lot of other slimeball movies.
Yeah, he's really typecast.
As I was saying,
He's pretty
I've
good
seen
at
that
it.
guy before in all those
Slimeball number
80s
2.
Slimeball
Yeah.
movies or something. I think he probably like raped Cagney and Lacey or
Oh
something.
my God.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't.
But one of the other things I thought was maybe I wasn't really paying attention to this trope. And I don't even know if the people who make these movies think it's a trope, but just watching that the Ray, what's his character's
Winston?
name?
Oh. Billy?
Billy is attracted to Corinne for her coolness and how smart she is, and he just wants to take it and own it and don't bother. Like, he's telling her she can be famous.
Yeah.
He's saying you're really close to it, but really he wants to
Control how
her.
she's famous.
And now we see that so much, right? We see it, and watching it play out in this movie there, it actually was making me kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, it made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was actually really depressed about their shower hookup. But what I was pleased about was that she was in control of everything.
Yeah.
She went into the shower.
So-
She knew what she wanted.
Well, I also love that right before it is when he's doing that thing where he tells her out of nowhere his sad story. I can't read.
Yeah.
I can't read. And that she opens the door and she says, "Why are you telling me
Yeah,
this?"
like, I don't care. Yeah.
She's
I know.
like, she's not
Genius.
getting sucked in.
That was so smart.
to his obvious attempt at, appearing
I'm trying to
vulnerable.
show you how vulnerable.
Yeah, and
don't
she's
care.
like, why would I care?
Yeah.
So that's why going into the shower scene, I felt like she wasn't vulnerable.
No, I don't think she's vulnerable
She
at all.
wanted to do that.
I just was depressed that she would even
know.
want to do him
I
because why?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, what?
Well, so
that's
she
not
could steal his
depressing, 'cause
song, obviously.
Yeah, but if she would like, I mean,
She already stole his song. She doesn't need. I mean, I guess if she wants it, again,
it
obviously
wasn't
she
like
wanted
the
it.
worst. I mean, it was like he was like there, and
I mean, he's the best of the ones that are
Right?
available,
I
I
mean,
suppose.
I don't
but
know.
I think she
Lawn
was
Boy
working
was
with what
probably
she
the
had.
cutest one.
he was way cuter. You're right. No, you're totally
Which
right.
one?
Lawn Boy,
Yeah, he was way cuter.
the driver.
Oh well, I mean,
Way cuter,
but-
yeah.
yeah. But
But she was about to screw him over as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, that's the thing that's funny about it is how quickly she becomes greedy and buys into the whole
Again,
thing.
within a month, it's really quick.
Yeah, right overnight.
It's a lot of stuff to get in a
I know.
month.
Which is like, I mean, I like that as like an implicit criticism of like capitalism. Like,
Yeah.
you know, feminists cannot take part in capitalism on that level without becoming part of the patriarchy. And
Wow, I
Well,
hadn't
yeah,
thought
I
of
know.
it.
Well, that's
Oh,
why
I love it.
You know,
I love it so
Okay.
much.
With Riot Girl, it was all like, don't sell out,
Yeah.
because as soon as you sell out, then you're a part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Which I did enjoy in Carrie Brownstein's book when Pearl Jam asked them to tour with them, and you can't do that.
And it's hard. We all struggle
Yeah.
with that. You
Yeah.
know, like some people sold out and some people didn't, and
I'm not a fan of the concept of selling out. I don't believe in it.
Well, see, when I was young, I really, really did, and
I know. And then you got older and figured out.
I probably should have taken all that money that was offered to me that
I
turned down.
And you could take the money and you could have given it to
And I did turn down a lot of money, a lot when I was young and a young punk, because my band got really popular really quickly, just like in the movie. Because there are some parallels. We were really young, we were not prepared. There were a lot of people kind of trying to get in with us, always men. Yep. We'll give you all this money and we'll make this album. It'll be great. You'll go on tour. You'll sign to my major label.
Yeah, I didn't mean sell out
I know
in a gross way.
Yeah. Well, to me, it was just like selling out as far as who you associate yourself with.
Yes.
And who's owning your music and who has ownership of your art. And, and so at the time, it was really important to me and a real point of pride that I said no to everyone.
Yeah.
And much to my mom's disappointment, she's like, you could have made how much money? But, looking back, what I got from it was just personal satisfaction, and that I stayed true to my beliefs, and, and this was, I hadn't even seen the Fabulous Stains at this point.
But I mean, the music
and
industry.
And then seeing it was like, okay, right on. Like,
yeah, it validates your decision. Yeah. But I mean, in the music industry is one of the only places that asks you to sign away all the rights to everything that you do. Yeah. Like, even in the publishing industry, I retain the copyright of my book. Like, it's a flawed, the music industry is deeply flawed from the ground up. And the publishing industry, not great. No one's saying that.
Because the publishing industry isn't like making dreams. People have to spend like months and years writing a book, right? Whereas you, as a young girl, you're like, oh, would you like this?
Yeah.
And what's the best thing a writer can be offered? Well, we'll give you an advance for the next 3 years. You hide yourself in a box and type.
But just in terms of like the music industry, I think is like particularly like vulturistic. Yeah. And they want
star.
We're gonna. They want to hustle a star machine, and that's all they're interested in. And so I understand like that idea of. Like whether or not you like selling out just so you can like pay a bill. Like I don't think necessarily Sleater-Kinney going on tour with Pearl Jam is selling out necessarily. No. I understand completely not wanting to give up the rights to what you make.
It's very different.
And the people you do business with. Like
they're very complicated stories. I watched that George Michael documentary and about that lawsuit he fought very hard to have that control and lost, and how important that was to him. And I struggled watching that, thinking, are you really? Is this the right? I mean, that's what he could sleep with at night, though. That mattered to him. Yeah. And it's interesting watching it.
It was interesting at the time in the early '90s when Riot Grrrl was very high profile, and there were there were more bands with women becoming more visible, and how quickly the major label industry hooked onto it and were sort of creating bands that kind of looked like that and approaching bands. But we were punks. Most of us came from punk and were punks, and so it was really hard for them to understand because they had this old model of like, doesn't everybody want to be a star?
Yeah.
But it was this, it was hard because some people did and a lot of us didn't, and they were up against a punk sensibility that was hard for them to understand, especially with women. They weren't used to women saying no.
We can't all be Fugazi.
Women saying no should be our new T-shirt. Like that's just
people just couldn't believe it. It was like the time I was working at the coffee shop where I worked in Portland, and this man came in. He's like, "Oh, I saw you play last night with this your band, the Softies." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice." He's like, "Do you mind if I give you a piece of advice?"
Oh my God.
And I said, "I do mind. I don't need it." And he's like, oh, because it was just this one little thing maybe I thought. And I was like, that's okay. No, thank you. And this went on for about 5 minutes where he couldn't accept that I was saying no. It's like it had to come out of his mouth or he would explode. But I wouldn't let him. I just kept saying, no, thank you. I don't want to know what it is.
If you're David Geffen, yes. Otherwise, please.
I didn't care. I wasn't even curious. Yeah. It was probably something I'd heard a million times already from other men. But his reaction was just like, no one had ever said no. No woman had ever said no to that question. Can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you can't give me some advice.
I love it.
To this day, you still don't know.
I don't know.
I love it.
I'm so excited. I will never know.
I will say, I'm just, Rose is one of, so I look for sort of like role models in my life and in my friendships to sort of like articulate saying no, articulate standing up to people. Rose did the most amazing thing one time. I couldn't even, like, We're at Gilmore Girls trivia. And this man is at the next table, and I don't even remember exactly what was going on, but he was being a real jerk. And she said to him, basically, you're being a jerk and ruining this for a lot of people, and I want you to know that. And it really sucked that you did that. And like she you know, like
we almost got in a fight.
But you almost got in a fight with his girlfriend, not him.
Yeah, that's true.
The girlfriend came at you.
Yeah.
The girlfriend came at you because she felt that you weren't letting it go.
Yeah. They're like, it's over, let it go. I had had a couple glasses of wine.
Wow.
And it was that there was going to be a race to the front, and we were poised to run up to answer a question. And he said, I'm a man. There's no way that you'll beat me.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, excuse me? Are you serious? Read the room, dude.
Yeah.
This is like a room
Gilmore
full of...
Girls
I
trivia
know.
night?
I was like, that is so inappropriate. And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry, haha, yeah, too soon. Like, because there had been, you know, whatever most recent horrific, some sexual harassment was in the media.
Yeah.
And I said, no, not too soon, never. And then he got mad, and then it was words. There was maybe some swearing. Then his girlfriend got mad.
Little
at
mouth
me.
swearing, but like but I have never been more impressed at like just like Rose was not going to let this guy get away with being a crappy human being. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And I still think about this whenever I need to like have like some you know, just really
The spirit of Corinne does live in you.
I know, it really does.
Yeah, when I really need to plant my pelvic floor and not let anyone knock me over.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to know that your pelvic floor and I have this special
You really
relationship.
do. You really do.
Really, like a visceral image.
I love it.
It wasn't a spirit. It was an actual pelvic floor.
I think it comes with middle age, honestly.
Wow.
It's I don't fear
No, I know, and I love it.
In social situations for the most part, because I just don't care.
I don't, you know what, that's such an interesting thing you should say that, because I've been so inspired watching Kathy Griffin over the last few months, and she had to come out after the chopping the Donald Trump head, where everyone was like, your career's done.
Yeah.
And she was like, wait, what are you talking about? Look at all these horrible people. And she's been nothing but been funny and welcoming and kind. And, you know, I watched a viral video where I wish I could remember the name of this YouTube star. He's massive. His mother was a huge fan. Got to go to her house. Kathy Griffin's all like, I want to meet as many YouTube stars as I can. Bring them all over. Like, this is a person that's still, like, doesn't care anymore. She's like, oh, you want to know what this house is? This is the house built on everyone said I couldn't do it. Which room do you want to see first?
Yeah.
And I paid cash. And she's showing rooms.
Yeah.
And she's like, and this room, this is another room where people said I couldn't do anything. And I was on a show called The D-List. And I do like this spirit now of just like... of
middle
saying,
age is the bomb.
It is, because you're like, oh, I don't have to listen to this anymore.
Only middle-aged women would say the bomb.
But I also, I think like that there is like, I feel like a lot of the young feminists that I see are already like cultivating that kind of strength.
I agree.
And I am
because they've got more
excited.
role models than you
I'm
having
so
to dig an obscure VHS.
I know, right? We had to work for that.
I mean, and now you've got like so many, again, thanks internet. I know there's some problems there.
Sure,
But there are so many good role models for you that are there to tell you that you are like powerful, you're making the right decision. I mean, you can shut people down. You can tell them no, I'm not listening.
You don't have to be nice.
Don't have to be nice.
That's actually like, I'm still unlearning that.
Yeah.
I'm still unpacking that for myself.
And that's
and
one
I'm
thing
39.
where the Fabulous Stains still really resonates.
That's what resonates
This
so
movie
deeply.
is, 30 years old almost, and her I don't care attitude, like we were talking about the moment where he's like, oh, well, boo-hoo, and she's like, why are you telling me this? Like, she just does not.
I envy that. I want that. I wish I'd had that as a kid. Like, I wish I could have been more.
I didn't even know women like that when I was young.
No,
and
no,
so
I did not.
this movie is amazing in how it portrays this fearless teenager.
It's glorious.
It's still, I think of all the modern young people and all the
do.
things on the internet they can pull from, and yet this movie still
and in the future
has so
maybe
much
she
to
can
offer.
have a mom. Just maybe once. Maybe once they can have a mom. No, we gotta
You need a dead parent.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Sorry.
A dead parent and an absentee parent, because these girls are like, their own moms have trauma, and are dealing with their trauma
and made bad
by
choices
being
in
inspired with them.
relationships.
So I really feel like when eventually they go back home, they're going to have like kind of a lot of healing with like mom/aunt.
I know.
It's going to be really beautiful.
I know, it will be. And they can all smoke together in the living
paint
room
their
and watch some Oprah, because Oprah was going to be coming soon, right?
Yeah, that would have been soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Can't wait. So does this movie pop?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It pops so hard.
It's been popping for 30 years.
I am so excited about our live staged reading. Guys.
Oh my!
Like
Okay.
we're gonna plot
wait.
this. It's gonna happen. I don't know when, but we're gonna make it happen. I'm
getting
very
Jen on
excited.
the
We're going to pop this, you mean, not plot this.
Oh goodness. Oh. We love to leave our episode on something we recommend. Rose, as our guest of honor, would you like to go first?
Well, this is, I don't know if you've recommended this in the past, but because of its recent appearance on Netflix Canada, I've been revisiting Kath and Kim.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh my God.
Is it Australian?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, good.
I'm on the second, watching it for a second time in 2
Wow.
months
Okay.
already. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's the,
Now, who does it star?
well, it's 2 Australian actresses that
Okay.
are, I think, famous for this in Australia. And one thing I really love is they play a mother and daughter, but in real life they're the same age. I think they're only a year apart.
Wasn't kind of like Absolutely Fabulous? Wasn't like Safi and
yeah. So it's kind of like that, and it's like the characters are so funny and so hilariously written. And the show is written by these 2 women, and it just gets more and more ridiculous. It's over the top and wonderful and smart and funny, and these 2 women are just my new inspiration in
I
life.
can't wait then. I'm
I'm excited.
In. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I've never watched it.
There's
Can't
4
wait.
seasons, and it's just so funny.
That's great.
And so of its time as well, but also
What year was it originally?
early 2000s.
Oh,
I
okay.
think maybe 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were
Thank
doing
you.
in Australia, so to me it'll seem fresh.
Oh
It'll-
my God.
It's so fresh. Lisa, what about you?
I am deep into season 4 of Better Call Saul,
Oh.
which I adore. Yeah.
too.
It's such a fantastic show.
Are you guys another TV club?
Maybe.
Better Call Saul too?
Yeah, I know.
I'm
And you
tipping
live
off my
like
chair
4
here.
blocks from me.
I know. This is exciting.
It's going to be so good.
So, if you don't know, Better Call Saul is the kind of prequel to Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it started as being more of a, I guess we're going to learn about Saul Goodman, who was the lawyer in Breaking Bad. But now as the show has progressed, we're getting more into really being a prequel of the full Breaking Bad universe, especially in season 4, because we went through... I find the mundane episodes super fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
It's so odd. I cannot get enough of Kim Wexler
Oh, yeah.
filing some papers. But now in season 4, the Breaking Bad carnage has started, and you've gone 3 seasons of weird small things to suddenly have just bloodbaths in drug houses. So
Well,
anyway,
spoiler
love
for
it.
anybody not aware of that.
that doesn't matter. You'll know.
Fine,
If you
it's
like
fine.
Breaking Bad, you know
It's
there was-
fine. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
But anyway, it is fantastic writing.
Agreed.
I think Kim Wexler should be our new hero.
Oh my God, I love her. And I love her style.
Yeah, I do. So if you remember we had Skylar in
Yep.
Breaking Bad? Well, Kim Wexler is just, I don't even know how to describe her. She's like, I feel like she's not acting. It's so good.
I'm not going to lie, Lisa Christiansen. She reminds me of you a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Maybe it's her voice, something about her
She's
vibe.
got a very deep voice.
Yeah.
She does.
And her hair color, and she's just got a real Lisa
my.
Christiansen vibe.
I would
Wow.
like to think I'd make better male choices than
And maybe smoke a little less.
smoke a little yeah. I'm so flattered. I've never... Kim Wexler. I've been in love with Kim Wexler for so long.
I speak the truth.
I'm
It's
really,
like my crush on Krista Freeland, too. Does anyone have that?
I
that?
don't know.
Our trade minister?
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I always forget
Sure,
sometimes
sure.
that you do have a foot in news.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's a good reminder. My recommendation is that, so I did finally see Crazy Rich Asians. And
so did I.
So did I.
Yeah. And like, yes, I am here for all of your discussions and all of our discussions, perhaps in the future, about gross hyper-capitalism and
again, I'm not a
marginalization and I have like super and like making money off of like what is essentially sort of like the oppression of people and colonization.
Is that
I
wrong?
really
No,
I have a lot of issues around all of that.
Yes.
However, I also was surprisingly charmed by this film.
It's a rom-com.
Me too.
No, I usually reject rom-coms a lot, and I really love Rachel, and I love the scenes between Constance Wu and Michelle Yeoh, and I love Henry Golding.
Wow, what a
I know, right? Wow, what a bold choice.
Wow, how did you come to like him so much?
How did I come to like this man so much?
Was it when...
Normally, I'm not looking for men I can climb, but this one seemed like a good time.
I don't think there was enough shirtless scenes myself. But,
honestly, even if I have to watch...
It was hot in Singapore. There should have been a lot more shirtless
But even
scenes.
if I have to watch a mother character creepily dressed for grown son, I'm actually in. Like if I can just objectify him. I don't know if I'm just soft right now, but like in my heart, but I cried and I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I really loved
I did
a lot of aspects of it.
But I definitely wanted to go to that because I remember I read the book as well, and so I was really pleased. Me to see certain scenes.
Yeah.
But when they first met the other couple and they go out for that big meal at that mall, that was one of my favorite scenes in the book, and I was so excited to see it in the movie.
And again, I'm here for all the different criticisms, and I'm absolutely happy to have those conversations.
There's a lot of conversations to have.
Lots of conversations to have.
Yes.
But I also, there's just this other part of me that loves the rom-com of it.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I said walking out of the theater with my husband, I looked at him and I said, boy, did we F up our wedding.
Right? You should have been walking in water down the aisle.
We did everything wrong.
And, the thing is, like, even though that wedding is like, it's kind of gross and over the top and whatnot, there's just a lot of that I really can't get behind. It was the acting of the groom.
Yeah.
He is so genuine in this moment where he's so in love with this woman who's walking down the aisle towards him. I was like, oh, damn.
I know.
I'm hooked.
I know.
I'm hooked. I'm watching
No matter
this,
what crazy plot she hatches, I will love her. That's what it said to me.
I'm in.
I know,
I
agree.
oh my God.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I am going to recommend Crazy Rich Asians. Again, way to pick an obvious.
The number one movie in
I
the
know.
world.
Oh, look at
you and everyone else.
Subversive. Yeah. No, that's great. Go see it. But thank you so much for everyone for listening. Thank you, Rose, for coming and joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Oh my God, it's been so lovely to have you. Thank you. You can hang out with us on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You could also rate and review us on iTunes, hang out with us on Stitcher, and Spotify.
But you can't hang out with us at the Vancouver Public Library. We record because we need quiet.
Yeah, please.
Full quiet, except for when Rose comes by.
Yeah, it's going to be weird if you start showing up here.
Exactly.
It's about to get rowdy, so...
Here we
Stay
go,
away.
people. And Andrea Gin is our producer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.